Hey, welcome back, you beautiful mama. This week on the show, I got to have a real and raw and honest chit chat with Wendy S. Meadows. Wendy S. Meadows is a seasoned family law attorney, former litigator, certified life coach, and mediator. She's also the author of the best selling book, Sparkle and Grit, a framework that helps high achieving women break free from burnout and live on purpose. Today, Wendy helps women who've checked all the boxes but still feel stuck. She blends practical strategies with compassion mindset work to help them reboot their habits, reignite their purpose, and build lives that actually fit. She also works closely with lawyers, especially those ready to go solo or restructure their practices, offering strategic coaching, systems consulting, and sparkling engagements for law firms looking to prevent burnout, increase retention, and foster sustainable success. You guys, this powerhouse woman, we started with a very real thing that she is going through right now, a very unperfected, messy moment that she is navigating and how she is navigating it. She is recently separated from her long-term partner and had just went through her first ever weekend without her kids. And so we talked about how perfectionism keeps us in relationships maybe longer than we should be in. We talk about how perfectionism drives the desire to be so great in what we do and how that can lead to burnout. We talk about how she went from being a very successful attorney to deciding that she wanted to go into the coaching world and help women who were also attorneys live a more balanced life. I asked her the burning question, do you even really believe that balance is possible? So get your journal. I shouldn't say get your journal, get your notebook, grab your pen, grab your cup of coffee or tea. And I know you're going to love this honest conversation. Enjoy. Hey, babe, I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America, women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal, so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod. Hey, Mama, welcome back to the show. I am so happy and grateful that you're here. And today, I can already tell we are about to have a juicy, raw, real conversation. When Wendy, I almost said Wendy Williams, Wendy Meadows. Welcome to the show, my love.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to dig into some of the stuff we were just talking about. It's going to be a first for me on some of it, and I'm ready to go.
Both of us were saying to the beautiful listener, like, we're already feeling raw and vulnerable, and you're coming out of, we're going to get right into it. I want you to introduce yourself and say who you are and what you do, but you're coming out of your first ever weekend without your kids, and holy pickles, yeah. Harry Potter. So let's start with
All right.
who you are.
This is Wendy. So ironically, my name's Wendy Meadows. I'm a divorce attorney. I've been a divorce attorney for 20 freaking years, which doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense to me mathematically.
How do we have anything that's 20 years old? That can't be. That can't be.
Very bizarre. It's very bizarre. And that's one of the career hats I wear. But the other career hat, I'm like a coach, consultant, speaker, author, like that ilk. And I coach primarily burnt out lawyer moms. And that has grown into more of a consulting role too, where I help attorneys leave their practice and go solo and open up their own shop and their own business, and freaking love it. That has led to like public speaking opportunities, and it's led to a book and some other things. So I do a whole bunch, but basically I'm a professional problem solver in every aspect. Like that's what I do.
Yeah, and there's so much I wanna know more about, like, how first of all, the drive to become an attorney. So we were she was saying, guys, before we hit record that when you were realizing one of the things that was holding you back of
Mhm.
taking the action to move forward with what you felt was right for you at this time in your marriage was
Mhm.
this hidden perfectionism that maybe you hadn't even consciously seen, and it's this like insidious drive to be a good girl and to do it the right way and to not let anyone down and not disappoint.
Right.
And then as I see you as an attorney and just like what drives women to become attorneys, and then your kind of transition to support women coming out of the overachieving boxes we get in there. So it's all over your story, my love. So I we're gonna face it together, okay? But
Sounds
let's start with where we are, and then maybe we can build backwards and get into your beautiful body of work. Tell us
good.
about your weekend and tell us about the messy thing that you're going through right
Yeah.
now.
So this year, right? So for the better part of 2025, my husband and I have been having a boatload of conversations about where do we go next. And it started the day after Christmas, 24. And I looked at him. We're in line to go to see Wicked at the movie theater. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, what? I'm like, I just can't. And I don't remember what set me off. Like, I don't know.
Mm,
Um, and it led to, I mean, there was conversations in front of that. There's conversations behind that. There've been lots of conversations over the years, but like that, there was a turning point then. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do. And then we had like lots of talks and talks and talks and talks, like through, and it come to find out like he was feeling the same way. It wasn't like I was this person on the island making, calling these shots and making these decisions. Like we're both feeling the same way. And so we couldn't get over the hurdle of, okay, well, what's next? Like we didn't know how to get from point A to point B. And my therapist, that was in lots of therapy this past year, she's like, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to have all the answers. But long story short, we kind of figured the next piece out and we started something called nesting this week, this past weekend. And nesting is where the kids stay in our house, like they stay in our house. We have a 2-bedroom apartment. People have lots of questions about this. We have a 2-bedroom apartment in Baltimore City, and that's where we'll be when we're not with the kids. So I was the first to leave, which feels weird just because of the way the schedule worked and the way when I put it all on a calendar and I put it like, and I printed off all the calendar sheets, it just made more sense for this weekend to be my weekend away, given all the way the other weekends line up and for
yeah,
a lot of other reasons.
yeah.
Um, so I was the first to leave and I didn't have, I've been gone since Thursday. I'll get my kids back today, Monday after school.
Mm.
Um, and it
Wow,
was different
mama.
than what I expected in so many different ways. So many
Yeah,
different.
what was it? Tell us all the emotions, just like the journey from the moment you're leaving and like what's going through your head and heart to what unfolded.
And keep in mind too, right? I said I'm a divorce attorney. So I've been advising people through this process and I've been silver lining this process for 20 fucking years.
Wow.
Right. And what I keep saying is like living it and advising on it, two totally different things that like I just didn't, and I knew I had some awareness that was the case, but like totally two different things.
Yeah.
So I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, right? I'm a
Mhm.
classic silver liner finder anyway. So I always, and like also like, my kids are 13, 11. I love them a lot, but I was looking forward to some
A break.
time away.
A break.
Like it didn't
You
sound
can say that here, honey.
I was
A
looking for
break
a break.
serves us
You know?
all well. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so the weird parts were, and it's like, and I travel a lot for work. Like I travel at least once a month. The kids are used to me leaving at least once a month for a couple of nights to go speak or go to a conference or do something.
Okay.
And then when I went to say goodbye, and then of course, like I was supposed to take him to school Thursday morning, and then I couldn't because our couch was getting delivered, and the couch was going to get delivered as like early as 7 a.m. So I had to be in the city to accept delivery of the stupid couch.
Mm,
And so I had to leave the kids like early, 6:15, like the late, like so they're still like waking up. So I'm waking them up to say goodbye. So I'm crawling to each of their beds to say goodbye, and then I just
oh,
fucking lost it. Like
ah,
so, and I'm normally because it wasn't just like a goodbye, I'll be back in a couple of days. I mean, but it was like, oh, I'll be back in a couple of days, and we're going to do this again and again and again, and there isn't an end to this. And I effectively,
mm,
like the thoughts going through my brain, I'm like, okay, my kid's 13. We have 5 years left. I just chopped 5 years to 2.5 years. I'm like, what the
mm,
fuck, Wendy? Right. So, like, part of me
yeah.
felt guilty, sad, frustrated, annoyed.
All
all
the grief, everything that comes with grief, right? Because that was you were recognizing it's not just goodbye for a couple days, it's goodbye to the family unit and the system and the time and the way we did things as long as you guys have been alive. Goodbye to our old structure.
yeah,
There's so much grief in that. And
so much.
as a protective mama, it's like where do you go with all of that?
And feeling like I failed him, right? So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm a kid of for so long, I identified as a kid of divorce. You know, my parents divorced when I was young, and I made that my identity for so long, and I still do at times. And now I'm like, Wendy, what the hell? Like,
Mm.
just seeing that there's a different perspective too. So I'm beating up myself too, little girl Wendy and teenage Wendy and 20 and 30 and 40-year-old Wendy. I'm like, you're really freaking hard on your parents, like keeping talking about this divorce all the time. So I have like that going on in my brain, and like saying to my son, I feel like I failed him.
Mm.
And then I went to say goodbye to my daughter, who is like half asleep, has no idea what's going on. And she was like, okay, mommy, but you're going to wake me up when you leave, right? I'm like, honey, I am leaving. And she's like, oh. And then like I'm crying. And I don't want them to see me hysterical, but I don't want them to see me with no emotion. So I'm trying to be perfect. Honestly, I'm probably trying to be the perfect amount of sad, you know, like I
Like,
don't want them
where does
taking
it
care
end?
of me. I know. I don't want them taking care of me. And I don't want
Oh.
them to think I'm a fucking robot.
Right, right,
So like, it's like,
right.
so,
How much emotion is age appropriate? How much transparency is
right.
age these are not in the divorce handbooks.
No. And again, it's like I want to be perfect.
Yeah.
Which we talked about before the show. I had no idea I was a perfectionist until this whole situation.
Mm.
Because if you saw my car, you would you would not think I was a perfectionist if you saw my car.
It's not a one it's not it doesn't apply to everything. I make jokes all the time. I'm like driving a Range Rover with holes in my socks. That's the kind of queen I am. And my husband is just like, "Girl, get some new socks." And it's what matters to us, right?
True,
But
true.
it's insidious like that.
It is. It is. So then I was going to say goodbye to her, and she noticed I was sad. And then I'm like, "Oh, honey, I'm leaving now." She's like, "Are you sad?" She's like, "Oh, you're not going to do something stupid, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm just sad." And then she starts singing. 'Cause I think she's like still in the theta state, like dream state. She's like, "We're all in this together," you know, from like High School Musical. It was
Oh.
sweet. And then I said goodbye to my husband. And my husband and I, so we're good. So we're amicable.
Yeah.
We started this process before we hated each other. We still talk probably almost every day ish. Like we're in good communication. Clearly, we're going to be roommates at this new place, right? So
Yeah.
it was weird too saying goodbye to him because he said something like, "Well, when am I going to see you next?" And I'm like, oh, because
Oh.
my brain still hasn't wrapped itself around when I come back, I'm coming back. It's me and the kids. It's not me and the kids and Kirk still like floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
It's I don't know when I'll see him next. And that's okay. I mean, that's what this process is, but it's
There's
weird.
grief in that too. There's grief in
Yeah,
that as well. Even if it's what you want, it's still a loss.
I know. And we didn't finish Hunting Wives. We just start like we started. We haven't finished.
Oh, that's
We started that
so
yet?
no,
Oh,
no.
it's great. It's a good on Netflix. Highly recommend. But we didn't finish it. So it's just like I'm we need this chapter to be over in our marriage. Like it's
Mm.
not a marriage that either of us wants to continue because it's not the marriage we think we it's not the marriage either of us want to be in, and it's not how we want to model marriage for our kids. But it was never because we hated each other. It was never because we couldn't stand each other. We still like hanging out, but it's not a marriage, right? So not even by perfectionist standards, just by like basic needs of what we both need standards.
Yeah, and what you both deserve. What helped you come to that realization that it wasn't what you really deserve, and where did perfectionism cloud some of that
Oh, goodness gracious.
truth inside of you,
Uh,
right? Because
yeah,
that's what it does. It
yeah,
it really kind of puts a filter on what we're allowed to look at and how we're allowed to perceive things.
right. A lot of things. And I need to be mindful that my kids might listen to the podcast one day, right? So like I'm going to say as
Totally.
much as I can say.
Totally.
And for the listeners who the other women who, you know, I can say it like this. We were amazing roommates. We were great co-parents, and that was it.
We can read
And
between the lines.
when our wedding anniversaries would come around and we were still roommates,
Mm,
and that was it. And that happened for a series of years. Like enough's enough, right?
yeah.
And, and he felt the same way. And then I was in there, and my therapist asked some probing questions. I remember she asked me a series of questions, but one time I'm like, why are we talking about my marriage? My marriage is fine. Like, we're great. Because I put so much,
Mm,
I thought we had a perfect marriage, like I thought we had this perfect couple. Like, and I keep saying it like that because
mhm,
we were 50-50 on the kids. Like, he was a super amazing co-parent. Like, we did the time. We did so much 50-50. I just assumed we were perfect. And he let me do the things I wanted to do. He didn't tell me no. Like, I got to do girl trips with friends. Like, he wasn't jealous, he wasn't insecure. Like, none of those things were there. So I figured we're great. Again, not realizing, oh, maybe there was also just a lack of caring on both sides, right?
mhm,
And my therapist kept asking me certain questions, and I was like, why is she asking me this? And I'd go home and sit with it and be like, oh. And then, like, I would go in and think about, okay, well, what's going to happen when these kids leave? Because the kids, they're leaving soon. Like, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to have amazing conversation? Are we going to find intimacy? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to happen. I just saw it wasn't going to happen. So that was a lot of it.
mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think what else, what your other question was. Oh, how
Well, it
did
was
I, yeah.
how did perfectionism slow down that remembrance of your truth, which is this ain't it for me, if I'm really honest with myself?
Um, so yeah, like, so again, I remember a lot of these realizations happened in therapy, right? But the one was, okay, what's holding me back? Like, because me and my therapist, like, we're talking, like, okay, where do I see? And I couldn't like see where I wanted to be. I'm still having a hard time to see where I want to be when this is like really plays out.
Mm,
But I was like, the people I was afraid of letting down. It wasn't even, I mean, of course it was my kids, but it was like my father-in-law. I was
mm,
terrified of what my father-in-law would think and that he would
mm,
judge me. I
mm,
was terrified. Was I worried about my parents? Kind of. Like, I wanted my parents to see me in this light, right? I kind of wanted to one up my parents in some ways, like, well, you couldn't do it, but I could,
yep,
honestly.
that's a thing. That's a thing.
I remember when our anniversary passed their divorce mark, I was like, yeah,
We beat the odds.
yeah, right.
We broke the cycle. Yeah.
So that was
Oh.
some of it. And I was just, I didn't really care about what my no, that's a lie too. I think for a while too, I was worried about our peers and our friends and our colleagues being like, "Oh, we thought Wendy had this perfect marriage," and like, "Oh, she didn't," right? And like, probably what
Mm,
people would think about me a little bit. And I've gone over that in so many other areas of life, but that one was still clinging. And yeah. But it was a lot of like, what's my father-in-law going to think? And then I was like, how can I let that be holding me back? Like, it's sort of ridiculous. And then I did this thing that
mm.
my therapist again recommended called you and I talked about it a minute. Constellation family therapy, which is wild.
Yeah, so let's talk about that experience. What is that?
And I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. Like, I just had it was some lady from the UK, and she had me have like this series of objects. And it was almost like I wasn't, what's it called? Hypnotized, but it felt hypnotized-ish.
Yeah, you were in your subconscious?
Yeah, and she had me place objects a certain way and then had me show her and then had me do it like with me and my parents, then me and my kids and all this like other stuff. And then she was basically like, and then had me do something subconsciously. And I realized, oh, I've been trying to be the perfect daughter. And to be the perfect daughter, I would stay in this marriage, and be the perfect mom and all this. And then like the mantra that she had me do to release it was and like talk to my parents, I guess, in the universe, which is like, I don't need to serve this role anymore. This is not a role
Mm,
that's my responsibility. And I don't remember exactly what she said or I said. And she's like, it's going to take 2 weeks to kick in or whatever. I'm like, okay. Because
mhm,
I got off of that being like, I don't know what just happened. But then
mm.
all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, like the hold was released. And
Wow.
I noticed I was like on the phone with my dad. And my dad is a great man, but he can be a little judgmental, which is funny given, my parents are divorced as well, but whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and, and I won't even get into all that, but
Right, right,
say a little more than pot calling kettle black in that
right.
situation.
That's
If
what that is.
and people can read through the lines, more than pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Um, in a lot of different ways.
I'm with you, girl. I get it. I get it.
And oh, what was it? And I was telling him about everything. This was like a couple months ago. And
Yeah.
he's like, Wendy, that I'm like, but the beautiful thing is it's not dramatic at all. He's like, well, that sounds very dramatic. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just like Kirk and I aren't fighting. We're amicable, blah, blah, blah. And I just noticed I was responding in a different way. I wasn't like backtracking. I wasn't trying to make him feel better. I wasn't
Mhm.
trying to walk in the line of perfectionist daughter. And it
Yeah.
was a different experience and I felt differently. I'm like, oh, that shit worked. Like,
Yes.
um, so that
Yes.
was huge. It was
Yeah.
huge. And with my father-in-law, I have to like credit my husband for this one. Like when he told my father-in-law late in the game. Like a lot of people knew before my poor father-in-law knew.
Mm.
And I think he's still having a hard time with it. He had a hard time with it. But he what's it called? Teed it up nicely and is like, Wendy really loves you and she thinks highly of you and
Mhm.
some blah 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 blah, whatever he said. So I think that teed it up nicely again for me not to have this man angry at me. Which again, if I'm now that I'm saying it out loud, like nor is it my business if he's angry at me, right? But it's
But it's real. There's always gonna be a younger, more vulnerable version of you that doesn't wanna disappoint.
right,
Like,
right,
the
of course,
one of our core wounds as women is the disappointment wound,
right.
and
I
I
know
think it drives a lot of our perfectionism.
for sure, 100%.
And so it's like, even though, yeah, sure, rationally in my adult self, my higher self, what I call the inner CEO,
Mhm.
that version of me can understand my father-in-law's emotional response is not mine to carry. But the little girl in me that just wants to be loved and seen and validated and to be special and to be chosen and to
Yeah,
not make waves and to not be a burden,
yeah,
she don't want to disappoint nobody.
no,
And so the protective, I believe, the protective part, it's a part, it's the, or
yeah,
the perfectionist is a protective part that comes out and says,
right,
no, look how good my marriage is, look how good everything is, because we're just trying to protect.
right,
And so we have to love that version of us.
right. It's
But
just
you're healing and growing and realizing, oh, but that's not my true self, that one that didn't want to disappoint.
right. Right. Is this internal family systems work?
Yes, yes,
I've done
yes.
I've done so my normal part that is on that makes sense is the figure it out part. So did not realize that figure it out Wendy, little Wendy in there, like I
Overworked.
she has been overworked and I have been trying very hard to turn her off like these last 6 months. And it's hard, right? It's hard not to have everything figured out and everyone figured out and every little thing figured out. As if everything is figured out, again, it goes back to the same thing. It's all it's maybe it's not perfect, but it's perfectly planned, right? And
Well, it's controllable, or so we think, even
yeah,
though we know that's not actually true.
agreed,
That's
agreed.
so hard. Those protective parts, they have become so strong. They're fierce. I always say, like, at the end of the day, no matter how awakened I become, don't fuck with my protective part, because she will literally
Oh, yeah.
handle any business ever. And I know that I get to lean on her for strength. Like,
Mhm.
we're not going to become weak, we're not going to fall behind, we're not going to miss something important, because she's still, I sat at my table of life. She's just not the driver.
Yeah, I like that.
And I put flowers at her feet and I thank her for her service and I tell her to go be passionate about things I want to stand for, but
Mhm.
she doesn't need to control everything, because control is an illusion. But oh my god, this is like big girl stuff. This is big girl, mature bitch stuff we're talking about here, and it does take lots of therapy.
Lots of therapy, lots of
But
self.
what you're. It sounds like you're, and I'm so thank you
You're
for
welcome.
being willing to talk about this, because you're talking about it while you're navigating it, which
Mhm,
takes a lot of effing courage to do, because we actually don't have anything figured out. But I'm
mhm.
really proud of how you're doing it. Like, you've got support, you're working through it, you're looking at your side of the street, you're keep like, it's just, I think it's cool to just show, like, a woman stepping into her truth isn't going to wreck the world, and we need to stop lying to ourselves about that.
No, and it's like it's interesting, like, my kids clearly have had a reaction, right? And that's who I'm
Of
most worried
course.
about. I look
Of
at
course.
anything, it's my kids, and it's robbing them of that family of 4 perfection, like, that I thought we were going to have. And then how are they going to internalize it and feel it, and are they gonna identify as kids of divorce and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And who knows? I don't know. But, like, life has gone on for them. Like,
Mhm.
yes, they cried, and yes, telling them was god awful. The first off hour was like, I don't want
Hard.
that again.
Yeah.
Um, But then it's kind of settled in, and we're going to continue to settle in, and there's going to continue to be bumps, but it's not like they're depressed in the room, never coming out again. It's not like,
Yeah, yeah,
they're like,
they're still going to all their things. They still have school and their extracurriculars, and they still have their mom and dad. And I'm not saying that divorce is easy, and I certainly don't have an opinion on anything around it. Really, I'm a stand for women liberating themselves because I think the more women liberate themselves, the healthier of a planet we're going to have. Period.
yes, agreed. Agreed.
But there's so many layers to it that make it so difficult. So, um, let's talk about you like deciding to become an attorney. Tell
Okay.
me what drove that yeah.
Who knows? Like,
What the hell drove that decision, and was there any perfectionism driving that?
I don't like, I wish I had a great answer of why I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I kind of forget. And the only person that kind of remembers is like my college boyfriend that I talk to, I don't know, every 5 years.
Yeah,
He's like,
once a
Wendy, this is what
decade.
I wanted to do. I'm like, it is? Because like, I just don't remember. I don't remember that version of her.
Mhm,
Legit. Like, so I was pre med for my first year of college. That did not work out. Like, I hated bio, and I just
mhm.
didn't, and I loved reading and writing. And then I got to take a summer away, that first summer between freshman and sophomore year. I'm like, oh, I should be an English major. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with an English major? And I woke up one day, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to law school, like my stepsister. And like now unpacking it and thinking about it,
Mm.
well, when my stepsister went to law school, my mom and stepdad were extremely proud of her. So I'm sure there's some of that too. I also decided I was going to go to American, and I got in. I don't know how, but
Wow.
it's just a good school, and
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
I wanted people proud of me, And
yeah.
then my first, okay, what did I want to do with the career was help kids and give kids a voice. No matter what career I've chosen, it was some sort of pediatrics, kid, whatever centered. And
Mm.
then went to school. Actually, freaking loved law school. My class was amazing. It was very collaborative. I don't know if you've heard the stories of people like stealing people's books or ripping pages out of textbooks and things like other
I
law.
know it's pretty I know it's pretty dog eat dog. I know it's when I think when I hear that people get through law school, I'm like, I know I'm dealing with a bad bitch because that is no joke.
But
Because
that wasn't that's
I
what
got clients who have gone through that, and I'm right there riding dirty with them, and I'm like, what? You're doing what? And how many hours a day? And
oh,
what? And
oh
what?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a life changing that. I mean, that was 3 years basically. You just fall
around the
off
clock.
the bridge, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was a great experience. Like actually, my school was fabulous. Like my colleagues, my colleagues, my student, like it was great. And
yeah.
then, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then this was what, 05. I graduated 05, and the job market was wonky. And I either wanted to get a job in tax because I liked numbers, I don't know,
Mhm.
or I'm like, okay, let's get back to the divorce world. So I want to give kids a voice that didn't have a voice like me.
Mm.
Someone is knocking at my door. Hopefully they'll just go away. Sorry.
I didn't hear.
Person more door. Ah. So hopefully I can give them a voice like me. And then I found a family law job, and I loved it. Like, I'm like, oh, this is the work I'm supposed to be doing. I enjoy it. It was very therapeutic and traumatizing at the same time, because it was seeing all these things pop up and being like, oh, my parents shoulda, again, making my parents, because that's the other thing I think we do as perfectionists. Like, we also expect our parents to be perfect, right? And
Yes,
all of a sudden we realize they're just fucking people. They never did this before. They never were parents
totally,
before.
totally.
Um, and in the family law world too, I would say this, like, we're so judgy. Oh my God. As lawyers advising clients, we are so judgy toward our clients. We're so
Mhm,
judgy towards the other mom and dad on the other side. We're so judgy towards opposing counsel. We're so judgy towards the judges. It is like such a judgmental profession.
mhm,
Um, which then I guess gets me to the next step of my career, which is I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I feel like I'm a part of the problem and not the solution. Um,
mm.
and
Is
that
that where you started thinking about coaching, or what was brewing at that time for you?
exactly. So this is like 13 years in at this point, I think. And around the same time, I accidentally fell into health and wellness coaching, which is just so much more fun and liberating, and helping other women like set goals and get them. And it wasn't like something terrible was happening to her. It's like, no, I just want to get a hold of my health and nutrition. I want to feel good. Like, I want to be a part of this amazing community. And I started doing that by the wee hours of the morning. I'm like, oh, this stuff is great. And I realized, oh, there's another world out there that's not just law. It's not just like the drib drab gray of lawyers, but that you could make a living doing something else. So
Mm,
like all of that was percolating. around the same time, I made the decision, like, you know what? It's time for me to go solo and open up my own shop for 20 bajillion different reasons.
Mhm.
And I did that. I worked my ass off again for 2 years, just making as much money as I could in litigation, in trial, whatever else, so I could be the first investor in myself. And
Wow.
that's when I hired my first coach. And then I'm like, she's like, Wendy, you're a coach. Like, let's get the show on the road. It's essentially what she said. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you're right. You're right. And that all happened in 21. So that brings
Wow.
us up to 21. And yeah, and that has just evolved. It's still evolving. Like that career, I still don't know where exactly it's going, but it's evolving and I'm having fun with it. And it's a calling, right?
So who do you attract? Like, who is the woman that most benefits from a collaboration with you? Like, she's obviously an attorney, right? She's like, tell us more about who you
Yeah.
help and how you help and why it's important to you.
So I think the person I help the best and the most is the person who they're finished having children and their
Okay.
youngest is 18 months. And I say that because I think that is when your brain comes back into your head. That's what I keep telling people.
Yeah,
Your
if
brain,
you're lucky. Me, it took me 2 years. I mean, it's still a little sketchy.
but like I think she's done. I think my best
Yeah.
coaching is for someone who's like, okay,
They're through that. They're through the like, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
through that period and now it's
Yes.
like, okay, I've checked all the boxes. Like, I had the maybe I got married, maybe not, but I had the babies, I checked the boxes, I'm doing well in my job, I'm financially pretty secure. Maybe I want things to be better because we all want things to be better, but I'm feeling pretty good. I can see there's a light. I don't know how to get there. And I know that there is something for me. I don't know how to get there. And I checked
Mm,
all the boxes I was supposed to. I did well in school. I did all these things.
mm.
And now I'm looking around being like, huh?
I'm
Really?
unfulfilled. What's wrong with me? I'm not happy. I did everything the world promised me would be quote unquote success, but I'm dissatisfied.
Yep. So it's her, but also
Mm.
she has to be coachable because I'm sure I've
Yeah.
coached people who make no movement in my whole contract with them. And I've realized that's not a me issue. That's sometimes a them issue, which is hard because like you want to be the perfect coach that can like motivate anyone. And some people just don't get motivated. I have another client right now. Holy crap. She does her homework and more every week. Every week we send up, she does everything I tell her to do. I'm like, crap. Like she's moving at the speed of lightning. So that's amazing. So I'm seeing like their trajectories are going like, I don't know.
Up,
Where to read
up.
that 60-degree angle. I don't know. The other people is like, I don't
She's
know.
drawing a line up with her finger, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
So it's her. It's that person. And then to get even more nichey than that, it's if she's at a law firm and probably has a book of business,
Yep.
right? And she's looking around at her law firm and thinking to herself, I'm working the most out of everybody. I have a book of business. I think like I keep asking my firm to do this differently and they roll their eyes at me. I'm asking for additional money. They're rolling their eyes at me. I see where this firm is going. It doesn't fit so good with me anymore. I want to do it on my own and I want more time and money. Then she's my girl, right? Because I'm like,
Mm,
okay, let's go solo. It's time. And to get rid of like the guilt, to help with the breakup conversation, to set up her business and like
mm.
help support her through her first month of business. Like that's my favorite. That is like,
Yes, because you've done that.
yeah, exactly. And it's fun.
So, what became available for you when you had the courage to break ties and go on your own and like, because that takes a lot. I mean, that's not easy to do, but what became available for you when you bet on yourself in that way? Because that's pretty extraordinary.
Easy answer, first thing is money.
Oh,
Like,
hell yeah.
right? Like just
Money in my pocket, honey, which is good for the world.
right, like I gave myself a raise.
Yep.
I worked just as hard, if not more. Like you don't have to work harder. You can make the same amount of money and work less. But I'm like, no, like let's give my kids the trip to, Disney. Let's do this. Like let's do the renovations, etc. Let's build a fucking pool. So it money. Like it's
It's
more.
just the shit I've been wanting forever since the 80s. Let's go ahead and get those things.
Exactly, exactly. So, like, I mean, legit answer, like, that was the first thing, right? But then it was
Yeah.
also, in addition to that, it was this like incredible sense of freedom. Like,
Yeah.
I remember it was that first week, and like the bank where I used to deposit checks in real life. Now you can just like use your phone, and now people just pay online. But like, I had like my first checks, and I was like walking across the street to the bank, and it was like a beautiful sunshiny day in like September, like August, September. And I felt this like sense of like freedom and weight off my shoulders. Like I don't have to walk into an office where I was at the time I had no assistant, I had no one. I don't know. I don't have to worry about what I'm walking into. I
Mm.
don't have to worry about who's going to roll their eyes at me that day for something. I don't have to worry about who's going to like talk back to me, tell me what I can do, tell me what I can't do, or listen to how other people interact with one another. Like none of that. Like I get to create what's mine. And it was just this feeling of like freedom. And it was felt the exact same as the summer my parents finally let me just be by myself all summer. So that was the summer between I think sixth and seventh grade. Between sixth and seventh grade, I had no babysitter, I had no camp, I had no one like watching. Maybe I had camp, but I had these stretches of weeks in the summer where I could just like be,
Yeah.
and that's 100% what it felt like. And I was like, oh, like I'm not
Mm.
worrying about anyone else's expectations, my clients, but not like annoying expectations.
Yeah.
Um,
That freedom thing is a really important topic. And I feel like for so many women, they don't even really know what that is for them, or it's hard to articulate. It's hard to connect the dots. Like, I want to feel free, but I don't really know how to get there. Or I do, but I don't know the steps, And, but there is nothing better than that liberation piece, that freedom, that getting out what you're going to put in, like nobody hindering your success,
yeah.
and like you are your biggest advocate. Nobody's blocking you but you. I mean, I love all of that. But
Mhm.
you help women a lot with burnout,
I did.
correct?
Yes.
So,
Right.
and then you wrote a book about grit,
Right.
correct?
I did with the book.
Okay, so I can't wait to have this conversation with you. Sparkle and grit, look at it, baby. We're going to link it in the show notes. So,
Perfect.
here's the conversation I want to have with you because I have a sense that you and I have a lot of parallels.
Mhm.
So, I too am passionate about grit, which really is about integrity for me, being in my integrity
I like that.
and and being all in on very few things because I've unsubscribed from most of the shit the world told me I'm supposed to do. Okay. But those few things,
Like
my
yourself.
business and my business and my babies, I am a fan of hard work, all in, intentionality, integrity, but I'm also a therapist, and we are all walking around in a dysregulated nervous system with burnout. So I would love to hear you talk about that relationship of like how grit and burnout play with each other or against each other, or what you're seeing, at least in the attorney world. Like, let's have that discussion.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
don't
trying.
you feel like you either fall on one side, you're either anti burnout or pro grit? And I'm like, no, in my world, we're both. We're like,
Yeah.
we're shaving off the expectations that don't need to be here
Yeah.
so that we have more time, energy, and sanity for the shit that matters most. And you, queen, decide what matters, not your mommy, not your daddy, not your boss, not the government. Okay, we have hard nipples and chills. This is a good sign.
Because this is exactly what I talk. You package it and said it differently, but my guess is I talk about this all the time. So I don't even know where to start with your question. So it can go in so many different ways.
Yeah,
Um, But and I am same thing. I am not a stranger to hard work. I think we do need to work hard. Like I don't think it can be like, oh, we can just like I mean, I'm big into manifestation
me
as
too.
well. But it can't just be, and that's why I say the sparkle. If it can't just be all sparkle, it's just all like sparkle is like all the happy, good juju feelings. Like
Energy,
that. It's like,
manifestation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I think it's what I say, sparkle is the hint of inspiration lying in your path designed to wake you up, is how I define sparkle.
Mm.
So
Ooh,
it's
I
those
love that.
little things that you see, you're like, oh, and it's like random things. But for example, for me, a sparkle would be I was listening to a podcast. I never listened to it before. She was like, come to my, pretending she's on the phone to me, come to my conference in Arizona. You have to be there. You have to get the VIP and come right now, come register. I said, okay. There was
I need
something
to
in my gut telling me I had to go, right? I'm like, cool. So I went. And so I went and like that was, it woke me up, right? And then what followed was lots and lots of realizations. So this conference is basically built for me. And then
Mhm.
it's all the hard work I've done since then to grow other parts of my business. Right. And so
Mm.
I do think we need both. So both. So sparkle I've defined, and grit, I call it baby steps of perseverance. And I agree. And I
Mm.
only concentrate on a couple of things. And that's my, what's it called? Achilles heel, right? There's always 25 million things I want to be concentrating on. Actually, I talked to my accountant this morning. I'm like, I need you to tell me, Wendy, there's these 4 things you want to do, just one. You can
Mhm.
just focus on one, because that's where I have a lot of trouble. But I agree. But it's like the baby steps of perseverance. And I don't think grit should be this thing that like burns you out, makes you so tired, like you want to like keel over and die. But there will be times that you are working that hard, because if you're working that hard, but it should come with an ending, right? It should come with an ending, and it should be related to your sparkle, or else like what? Um,
Yeah, and it doesn't feel, and you can tell me if you agree with this or not. 'Cause my past life before this business, which I've had my business now for 10 years, but before it, I was in corporate leadership and I did HR leadership coaching training for Target Corporation, and then I ran stores for them at a young age. So I had a high level of responsibility as a young leader, and I learned, girl, I became a young mom. I had my kid in college and was like, fuck, mama's got to have a good job, you know? So I know hard work, like physical, hard and mental. God, running a Target store is fucking physical, mental. It's
I bet.
you're
I
dealing
bet.
with the general public. Do I need to say more? What I have found is when you're not doing the shoulds and supposed tos, but you're actually doing something that genuinely feels like it's in soul alignment,
Yeah. It doesn't.
it doesn't like
It
this
doesn't.
conversation we're having right now.
Right.
This doesn't feel like work. Like I would do this for fun all day long.
Right. I
The
agree.
way that I get to work with my clients. Like, and so to me, burnout, what I'm getting curious about is like,
Mm.
are we really burnt out or are we just not in alignment while also not taking care of ourselves and stuffing our feelings since fucking our grandmother's grandmother?
I think a little bit of the all of the above.
Yeah.
And I would say, and I'm trying to unpack all because there's so many things you say. I'm like, oh, I could talk about this.
Sorry, I just
Right,
throw them
right.
all out there. Which one
So,
lands?
and I think with burnout too, the number one thing to remember is I think what a year after I wrote this book, guess how I felt? Fucking burnout. And I was like, how am I burnt out again? How am I here? I wrote a whole book on this, and I'm like to the point like I went back and read it. I'm like, oh yeah, here's how I get out. Like I had
Yeah,
to go
there's
to
some
the
good tangible tips in this puppy.
and so what I recognize like for me if I had to like boil it all down to one thing and like what's the most helpful in terms of getting out is knowing too, like you're going to get burnt out. I'm going to get burnt out again in the next year. I'm sure I will. It's just, it's going to happen, but it's like seeing the signs and knowing how to get out. For me, I notice like when I consistently start spending the first 2 to 3 hours of every morning instead of doing the things I say I'm supposed to do, like working out, journaling, being intentional, reading, meditation, what have you, and I'm working, and I'm working my ass off because like I see a financial goal I want to meet and I'm working too much, like almost like too much in the beginning, and the goal isn't necessarily the work I'm doing, it's the dollar sign. That's when I start to feel burnt out.
Yeah.
And then it's also one of my best way to combat it. Or when I start to see big changes in myself, it's not, so this won't surprise you. Last fall, before this whole marriage thing, like I had been a worker outer for a long time, but I really wasn't doing any. I identified as a worker outer, but I wasn't actually working out, you know? So I went all into Orange Theory and all into hot yoga. And then every time I go all into a workout program, like now I realize, oh, that means change is coming. But it also like it brings me back to a state of like, okay, like the breath work, not breath work per se, but you know, the breath that you get in the working out and like, you know, completing the burnout cycle. I feel like myself again. If I go all into a workout and I'm doing it consistently, that's my number one way of combating it. And also I think being real with myself, what do I want? What do I not want? And putting that first, right? Taking care of myself first before I'm doing all the other crap that I could be doing later in the day. Like, so those are the ways I get over it per se. But also, like you said something good about like what you say, a mother's month that we've been doing this. Like, I think we're just tired.
Stuffing feelings. So I think part of the burnout equation is we're carrying generational trauma and then all of those needs that never were met or voiced and all of the disappointment and all of the hurt and the trauma and all the things that we've been through that we also carried of our mothers and our grandmothers. We've got to start getting that shit out of the body so that we can
Yeah.
connect to our truth and remember our truth. But it's like we're burnt out because we're carrying today's loads and the last 200 years load on our shoulders energetically and in our bodies somatically.
Yeah. And we're just tired.
And we're tired.
I saw a good meme the other day, and I've seen it a million times, but it was like someone was like, "How are the moms supposed to work 9 to 5, get their kids to school at 8, pick them up at 3:30, go to all their after stuff, make it dinner, take them to their other activities, make sure their kids are in therapy, they're working out, we're getting our 100 grams of protein, whatever the frick it is right now
Yep.
a
Yep.
day." Like, how is that supposed to happen? And it doesn't. Like, it's
It's
not,
not. It's
not
not feasible. And that's literally how I birthed my brand is
that.
I had two babies 14 years apart and I was nursing my daughter in the middle of the night and I was in a really dark place. And I had like zoomed out one night and I was like, oh my God, like as mothers, we have always done more.
Yeah.
We were taking care of the homes and the children. Now we're working, but we're still taking care of the home and the children. We're working. Now we're the breadwinner. And we're
Mhm.
still taking care of the home and the children, but we're the breadwinner. But we still need to have a Thanksgiving like grandma's, organic, fucking gluten free, dairy free. So if we don't just have to feed our kids, it has to be all this shit. We don't just have to raise our kids. We have to build sensory games and shit. Pinterest
Right.
level bento box lunches and be a size 2 and not even have a nose hair out of place. And I zoomed out and I was like, this is ridiculous,
Yeah.
because I was really trying to be like, keep up as a businesswoman and keep up with the stay at home moms, but then also keep up with my own well being and what I thought marriage, all the shit. And
Mhm.
then I noticed, Wendy, that actually that parallel, right? The never ending rise in the expectation on the modern mom, it paralleled a rise in our mental health conditions. We have more anxiety than ever. We have more PTSD than ever. We have all the autoimmune disorder. Men don't have that shit. We're carrying all of that. We are drinking more than men now.
Right.
So to me, and it was the parallel, and it was the, okay, I am in this moment, I am unsubscribing from the pressure to be perfect. We're no longer keeping up with the Joneses. Now we're keeping up with the fucking Kardashians. And I say no more. I'm out. That doesn't matter to me. 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 That doesn't matter. That thing, that one thing really matters to me. And so that's going to be a guiding light in my motherhood, in my business, in my marriage. And it's just like, that's literally how I birthed my brand, was because I was like, this is insanity. We're literally killing ourselves. We are making ourselves sick trying to keep up and not disappoint.
Yeah.
And it's going to take us courageous women to revolutionize, to break the cycle of, everything is different. So the expectation that there's going to be a healthy meal on the table every night, that ain't fucking realistic, bro. I
No.
can't be a volunteer in the classroom every Wednesday if I'm also literally providing for my family. Or I can, but I can't be at this. Like, and you, here's the best part. You get to choose, as the woman of your system, as the mother of your system, you get to choose how you spend your time and energy.
Yep.
So
Agree.
if you want to work more, there's nothing wrong with you. If you want to be home more, there's nothing wrong with you. If you're one of those that gives a shit about the gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, more power to you, queen. But it better be coming from authenticity, not pressure to look
Yeah.
good.
I love that. I love that.
Right?
Yep.
Right? So, burnout is just like the perfect storm of modern motherhood and the pressure to keep up, mixed with not processing feelings, mixed with we're breaking generational cycles.
Yeah. And so like my number one tip, other than the working out, and this is something I talk about in my journal and pause time playbook that hopefully we'll like talk about in a minute, is I have found to combat the burnout and to find work-life balance. So I do believe it's a balance, but not like how people define it, like, oh, it's a perfect teeter-totter. It's just, it's deciding where your attention is needed the most every day. And every day it's going to change. So, and part of what I teach in the journaling is like thinking, like, for the first thing you do in the morning, instead of grabbing your damn phone, because, you know, we all like look at Instagram like first, you know, but instead of doing that or trying not to do that, it's like, okay, what is my big event of the day? Like, what requires my attention the most? And if I'm doing it as I'm like speaking to you now, it'd be, you know, like seeing my kids after I haven't seen them since Thursday, right? And like, and how do I and like thinking about that movie scene in my head before I get there, and thinking about who I need to be. And I can't tell you how that's going to play out. Like, they're likely going to jump into my car. They're going to be crazy. They're going to be fighting. They're going to be crying. They're going to be angry. They're going to be like, what is this? This feels weird. So I can't control them. I can't control the narrative. I can't control what's happening, but I can control who Wendy is. I don't want to say control. I can decide
Mm.
who the best Wendy is in that moment and do
Mm.
my very best to be her, right? Not in a
Oh,
perfectionist way, just like what will my kids need and where will I be proud of myself, right?
yes.
And it'll be calm, loving, curious, but not like annoyingly curious, because you know that drives them crazy too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just like I think just like calm and loving and happy to see them. And that's
And
all that's
present was what I hear you saying.
yes.
What I hear you saying is like the biggest thing on my day to day is to be as present and in my body and grounded as I can be for what is going to be a moment with my beautiful children. And
Yeah.
that level of awareness
Mhm.
is everything.
Right?
We don't need to be perfect. Can we just bring presence?
Right. Yeah. And not for the all 24 hours of the freaking day. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the day. And
No,
like
this is at 4:15 to
right,
4:30. Okay? I can handle that level of intensity for 15 minutes and then I can't promise you anything.
right. So like that would be today. But then there's others, like, especially when I was a trial attorney, my big event of the day would be cross-examining the husband and like the piece of evidence to down to the particularity of the piece of evidence I need to get in to court, like prove my case. And in that, like when I was doing the similar scenario in my head, I'm like, I'm unwavering. That's why I need to be there. I need to be a badass lawyer, getting my evidence in and making the arguments I need to make. Right. So I am unwavering. And I think I also wrote down something like, I am like a confident chihuahua is sort of
Yeah.
like something. Because like, like be on it, on it, on it, on it, on it, like not stopping, but also like I'm confident. And I wrote down something better than that, but that's how it
That's
felt at the time.
hilarious.
Like a confident chihuahua. But
I
yeah,
love
but
it.
like that day, that's what mattered the most.
Mhm.
That my work mattered the most that day. Today, what matters the most is you're right, being a present mom and like at bedtime tonight too. Like instead of being like, guys, I'm so tired, I want to go to bed. Like being like, no, I haven't seen my kids in 4 days. Like you're tired, Wendy, but like they need you. Like,
And this is when they come alive, right? When it's time for bed.
of course, of course.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm literally sending you so much love for this afternoon. I know that you have a special gift for our listeners. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's exactly the tool that I just talked about. It's called the Pause Time Playbook. And when they register, they'll get an email from me for like 7 days. Don't worry, it's like not much more than that. Like you'll get, I don't spam you, I promise. But then it's like the downloads too. And you have journal prompts, and it's not like, Dear Diary, blah, 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 blah. It's very particular journal prompts. Again, talking about your big event, how you're going to feel, looking at yesterday, looking at the day ahead. It's like all my very favorite ways to journal in a way that sets up every day for like it's the compass for my day and the reminder of what amazing thing happened yesterday to not only for like show gratitude but just we move through life so fast we forget about the really cool stuff. And when we think about the day before and we like hold on to it and cherish it, like those are the juicy bits of life. Like that's why we are here, and like it makes us like pause and be present, right? um so we have that going forward because we're not just this person like blasting through time and space. Like we're supposed to have all these amazing experiences as we're here. So it's like giving credence to those.
I love that because I can just feel so many moms are like, I'm just reacting to everything in my day year over year. Like, and that makes us feel like we have no control, which then perpetuates, right? So this sounds like a really beautiful tool to help you become so intentional with your time and your day.
Right.
I
Oh,
love
and
that.
they can get it. Yeah. And I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes, but if they go
Yeah.
to sparkleandgrit.com/playbook. So they'll,
sparkleandgrit.com/playbook. And where can the beautiful listeners connect with you to A, just follow your story because thank you for sharing it, and B, find out more about the work that you do in the world? Where do you want to direct them?
so Instagram and LinkedIn are probably the easiest. Wendy S. Meadows on both of those. And if they come into my world via the Sparkle and Grit, the website, I think if you scroll all the way down, you can find like the opt-in to the playbook as well. But that's where they know how to get better in touch with me and hear from me occasionally. I promise I do not spam.
I love it. I can't wait to see the lawyers come out of the woodwork. And it was like, there is a special population that you are serving that is so needed. And so I can't wait to see who in my community comes through. So,
Thank you.
Wendy, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We are all holding you and your family in your pickup today, your reintegration with your kids. It's a big moment and you're handling it with so much grace and intentionality. But thank you for coming and doing the work that you're doing in the world. And to the beautiful listener, thank you guys. We will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter, I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at BrookeJeanUnperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it together.